everything going on outside, this may be the perfect time to purchase your first home. So if you're interested in home ownership, stay tuned for some boss tips so that you can buy a house in 2020. Hey boss babes, I'm Barbie Angel and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be discussing home ownership. I feel literally like so blessed. My husband and I, we recently purchased our dream home, and as a first-time home buyer, there were so many mistakes that I feel like we made along the way that kind of prolonged our home buying process. So I'm so excited to be able to kind of like share those tips that I learned along the way with you guys. So I work in the legal field, so I feel like it's only right that I kind of like start off with like a little bit of a disclaimer. I am not a mortgage loan officer. I am not a mortgage lender. I did, however, work in the financial industry for about 5 years. I feel like that's kind of like where I learned, the most about credit and how to fix my credit and keep my credit up to par and things like that. But yeah, that's my little disclaimer. The tips that I'm going to give you guys are just the things that I learned during my home buying process as a first-time home buyer, and I just felt like it's something that I could share with you guys. So one of my biggest goals was owning a home before I turned 30. So after getting married, that was kind of like the first thing my husband and I kind of like jumped on. Unfortunately for us though, we didn't really have anybody we could really turn to for information on the home buying process, especially for like the type of homes that we were looking to buy and things like that. As millennials, that's not something that we know a lot about right now. So my first tip, if you're thinking about buying a home, is to do your research. Do your research. I am someone who makes sure I over-research everything I do. Like, I feel like the home buying process is something that you need to understand to the best of your ability in order to be able to have like a smooth process. So you definitely need to educate yourself on the process as a whole, just so you know exactly what to expect during your home buying process. Also research the area that you want to live in, what state you're going to live in, the neighborhood you want to live in. If you have a family or you're planning on having a family in the future in this home, you need to know the school districts, what the schools are like, the school ratings and things like that. You also have to know the taxes of the area that you pick to live in, because that plays a major role in what your mortgage payments will be. You also have to know, the style, the kind of home style that you're looking for, so that you don't waste a lot of unnecessary time looking at homes that you wouldn't be interested in. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we made, kind of early on in the process for us, honestly, because we spent a lot of time looking at homes that just didn't do it for me. We just kind of looked at everything that we could. I feel like that wasted a lot of our time. Our home buying process lasted 9 months, and it was extremely stressful. I think had I known then what I know now, we definitely would have had, a quicker and smoother process. Another thing, if you're interested in building your own home, that's another thing you need to do a lot of research on. I originally wanted to build, but because we were on such a time crunch as far as like finding a home and moving quickly, I didn't have the time, nor did I have the patience, honestly, to kind of like wait to build and all of that. So that's definitely something you want to like give yourself time and patience for, and definitely do your research on that. Tip number 2. Is to get your credit together. A lot of people don't know what scores are even needed in order to be approved for a mortgage. Like, you may be surprised at how low of a credit score can actually be approved. But you do want to have, the best score that you possibly can in order to get, the best interest rates and, the best like down payment rates and things like that. Our interest rate on our mortgage is very good, honestly. We have a 3.45, I think it is. So credit plays a major role in your home buying process. Luckily for me, my credit wasn't an issue. However, we did have to raise my husband's score. And honestly, my husband's score went up 100 plus points in a matter of 30 to 60 days. So, I may do a totally separate video just on how to improve credit fast and all of that. Just comment down below if you guys would be interested in that. But yeah, you definitely want to get a copy of your credit report, which you can do for free on websites like Credit Karma. There's another website you can use that I know from my previous life in financial world we recommended, and it is annualcreditreport.com. With that website, you get a free credit report from all 3 credit bureaus, and it's only once a year though, and it doesn't give you your credit score. So it's good to use to kind of know what's on your credit history as far as like delinquencies or any charge-offs, or anything like that that you may need to take care of during your process. I feel like there's so many people that get confused about, you know, their credit scores as far as it being different than what they see on those websites like Credit Karma. So I do want to point out that Credit Karma does not give you the score that lenders use in order to get approved for anything, be it a house, a car, a loan. Lenders use what's called a FICO score. And that's another thing that you want to know, is that all three credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, all use different models to determine like what your FICO score actually is. And I just want to say another thing about your credit. Do not pay anyone to fix your credit. You can fix your credit by yourself, just by following these little tips about research and all of that. Like I said, I'll probably do, you know, more of a deep dive into fixing credit and all of that next. But yeah, you definitely want to know, you know, you want to know your credit like the back of your hand. You need to know what's on it, what you need to get off, and all of that during your process. Tip number 3 is to save. Save. There are so many expenses that come into buying a home, so you want to ensure that you have the adequate funds. You have your earnest money deposit, which is like pretty much the first money that you pay once your offer is accepted, and all of that. So for us, we put down $5,000, but this amount can range anywhere from like $500 and up, and it's honestly up to you what you want to put down. The earnest money deposit is just to show the buyer that you are serious about the home, that you're not going to walk away from the home, and things like that. So with the earnest money deposit, you do get that money back if anything happens during the time from your offer being accepted until your closing date. And that's things that happen that are out of your control or that's not your fault. So let's say your offer's accepted and you go for your inspection, and then there's a lot of violations, or there's things that, you know, make the home like not sellable or not buyable, like things that are not up to code. You would get your earnest money deposit back, because that's something that's out of your control. I hope that makes sense. So like on the same token, let's say your offer's accepted, but then you decide during that process before closing that, oh, you found another home that you really love, or something happens with your credit and then you're no longer approved for your mortgage. The seller would then keep the earnest money deposit. So that's the risk with the earnest money deposit and the amount that you put down. So for us, like I said, we put the $5,000 down, but in the beginning of our process, we were only putting down $1,000 for each offer just because of that risk. But you know, during our process, it was a serious seller's market, meaning there were a lot of buyers, but there were not a lot of sellers or a lot of homes on the market, especially for the type of home that we were kind of looking for in the neighborhoods and things like that. So we had to act fast. We had to put in our best offers. So that's kind of like one thing we learned during our process, was to kind of like up our earnest money deposit. Another expense is your inspection. So once your offer is accepted, the next step is your inspection of the home, just to kind of make sure that everything is up to par. For us, our inspection was around $800, which you pay that upfront out of pocket, and this amount varies based on the area, the square footage of your home, and things like that. Our square footage is about 4,200, so that's why our cost was kind of high, and that's even with the discount from our realtor, just because we use the inspection company that she usually uses. So then your next expense, the expenses are your deposit and your closing costs. So your deposit amount is determined based off of the mortgage product that you choose, and your closing cost varies based off the price of your home and the lender and things like that. And we live in an attorney state, which means our home buying process has to include an attorney. So that was an additional couple $1,000, I think about $2,000 or $3,000 that we had to add on top of our closing costs. I also forgot to mention, with the inspection, if there are things wrong with the home and the seller refuses to pay to fix it, and you really want the home and you don't want to lose out on it, you would have to pay for those repairs out of pocket. So that's another thing to be mindful of. Like, another expense is just like the moving cost and all of that, U-Haul, all of those kind of things, getting boxes and all of that. So, you know, and another thing when it comes to down payments, there's these down payment assistant programs that could like cut your deposit in half or bring it down to like nothing. But they do have like income requirements that you have to be under like a maximum amount and things like that. I think it's like $92,000 a year. And I wish that was like something that we could have taken advantage of, but unfortunately we didn't qualify for any of those type of things because our income was on like the higher scale. So I don't have much information to give on how you can even kind of get into those programs, but it's definitely something that you can be a major assistance to jumpstart your home buying process, especially if money and saving is the hard part for you. So make sure you look into those down payment assistance programs. So like I said, there are a lot of expenses that you need to save for during your home buying process. I'll do another video maybe kind of like breaking down the cost of everything, as well as like knowing how much you need to save and things like that, just so this video isn't like an hour long. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that video. But yeah, make sure you save period. Tip number 4 goes along with research, but it's kind of like looking into the different mortgage products and deciding what product best works for you financially. So the first one, there is the FHA loan, which stands for the Federal Housing Administration. This one is a government assistance. I believe that's the term that's used for, where you don't need to have like perfect credit and your income doesn't have to be sky high. And with the FHA loan, you're looking at 3.5% down payment of the overall cost of the house. And with the FHA loan, your credit score can be as low as like 580. But I would recommend, you know, trying to get your score higher to about the 640s, just for the better interest rates. And also with the FHA, I believe if your score is lower than 580, you could possibly even get approved for that as well. And you would just have like, you know, higher interest rates. And I know that your down payment would be 10%. So then there's the conventional loan, where your score has to be at least 620 to about 640, and it's anywhere between 5% to 20% down payment, which can really, like, that's a lot of money. Like, looking at like $400,000 houses and up, and you're paying $20,000 down payment, that's crazy. Even at like $200,000, it's a lot of money. So then the next one is the VA loan, and that's for like active, retired, or reserve veterans, where you have, and that's a 0% down payment, and there's like limits depending on like the state you live in, as to how much the home can cost and things like that. And then the last one is a USDA loan, and that's for people buying homes in like rural areas, and there's also a 0% down payment on that one as well. So yeah, those are the loan products to get information on, to make sure that you're in the right place to start your home buying process. So you definitely want to check all of those out to figure out what works best for you. Tip number 5. So after all of that, you want to start shopping for your mortgage lender. You want to make sure you check out as many lenders as you can to get the best interest rates. And also, every lender could give you a different approval amount on just like how much you qualify for. So one could give you like $350,000. One could give you like $450,000. So you definitely want to shop around when you're picking a lender. We had 4 lenders during our home buying process. We ultimately chose the lender that was kind of like the easiest to deal with. He was always on call, you know, which ensured that our offer went through. He even called our buyer's agent to let them know that we were solid and like nothing was going to affect our closing, which is why I believe we got our offer accepted, because it was like 10 people wanting our home. Yeah, so definitely shop around for mortgages, and don't be afraid that you're like messing up your credit or anything by getting all these inquiries, because with mortgages shopping around for mortgages doesn't hurt or affect your credit at all. Tip number 6 is getting a pre-approval from the mortgage lender versus a pre-qualification. So a pre-approval looks best to sellers to show that you're already completely set to get the house. With the pre-approval, the mortgage lender does a deep dive into your credit history, your income, your debt to income ratio, which is your DTI. Your DTI has to be below 41% for your best chances of being approved for the mortgage. So DTI is calculated by dividing your monthly bills by your monthly income. So lenders use that number to find out how much house you can afford. Pre-approval is basically saying, like, as long as your credit improves and doesn't go down, and nothing changes as far as, you know, on your credit report and things like that, then you're definitely okay for the mortgage. And whereas a pre-qualification is like you're just giving your basic information, income, credit, things like that, and it's like, okay, so maybe you'll be approved. So the sellers love to see a pre-approval with your offer letters over a pre-qualification. So tip number 7, is this 7? Yeah, tip number 7, find your realtor. So if you don't know, you're not paying the realtor anything out of pocket. They get paid off of commission from the home price. So once you have your pre-approval, you want to start finding a realtor. As a first-time home buyer, I recommend finding a realtor that can dedicate their time to you. We had 3 different realtors during our process, and I feel like that was another big mistake that we made. Like I said, we were trying to find a home during a very competitive market. If it was a house that was like kind of put on sale on like a Thursday, you literally had to see it the same day, or there would be like 5 offers ahead of you before you even got to see the house the next day on Friday. So yeah, your realtor has to be able to see the houses as soon as possible. We had great realtors, honestly, but they were too busy to kind of see a bunch of homes, and we kind of like missed out on a lot of homes that we really wanted to see. So like I said, I over-researched everything so I would know a house was on the market before our realtors even kind of notified us about it. So I would be sending the realtors homes like, please schedule this as soon as possible and things like that. And then you would have to wait for them to schedule it based off of their availability. And it was all just like too much. Like I just couldn't. So the realtor we ended up with was actually a Redfin agent. And if you don't know what Redfin is, it is a website that shows home listings. So there's others like Zillow, Home.com, Realtor.com, Trulia, but Redfin was my favorite during our process. So the Redfin agent was the best option for us, honestly, because you could schedule your showing of the houses right on the app on your phone based on the times that they would have available. And if the realtor wasn't available to see the houses with you, they would send a colleague. So if you're like in control and you like doing your own research and you're comfortable enough, I would wholeheartedly recommend Redfin agents. So once we started with our Redfin agent, we were always the first to see the homes. So that helped us a lot. And the lender we ended up using actually was recommended by our realtor. So it all kind of came together. So the same way you shop for your mortgages, you want to make sure that you're shopping for your realtors as well. Had we gone with the Redfin agents from the beginning, which I wanted to, our process would have been smoother and a lot quicker, honestly. And my final tip, number 8, is to be smart and to be patient. Like I said, our home buying process was extremely stressful due to the market at the time, and there were so many times that we wanted to settle on homes, or just because we were tired of the process. We were tired of looking at houses, tired of our offers being rejected. We put 7 offers on homes and we were just tired. Okay. But I am so grateful we didn't give up, because obviously, you know, we found our dream home. We did have to let go of 2 things that we really wanted, which were a pool in our backyard and a finished basement. But the layout, the community that we live in, the square footage, the space, everything that we wanted, as far as those things, we got it. So, you know, now we're just kind of in the process of getting quotes to kind of build our pool and finish our basement. Of course, you know, I wish we could have had everything included that we wanted from jump, but honestly, those houses were being sold within the first day of going on the market. So it was so hard and it was annoying AF, like. So if you're not on a time crunch, just be patient. I feel like that's my biggest tip. Like, you're gonna find your dream home when the time is right. When God said it's for you, you're gonna find it. So yeah, these are the tips that I have for any first-time home buyers that are on the home buying process. Like I said, I will be doing more videos on kind of, you know, on home ownership and sharing my kind of house to dream home series with you guys. Like, I'm so excited to be able to decorate and just kind of like show you guys like our journey in our new home. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you are interested in anything like this. And just for my, you know, my house to dream home series, and make sure you subscribe and join the fam, and make sure you hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. So as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. I thank you guys for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.